Om Gurave Nama. Welcome everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us. My colleagues Todd and Brice, we are very happy to be here with you today. And we're taking this space very seriously, and we want to honor our gurus and offer everything we say here to their legacy and what they taught us. So thank you for being here. Hi, Todd. Nice. You guys are here. Welcome. Nuevo. Gracias por estar aquí. Gracias por acompañarnos. Thank you, everybody. Hi.
Hey,
Good to see you again. It's
good
like
to see
jumping
you.
into the abyss, isn't it? These lives.
Yeah. So Bryce should be on here in a second.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm doing well, and you?
Yes, I'm doing
You doing
well.
good?
Lots
Yeah.
of energy, isn't it? Like,
Yeah. It's building.
that's a
It's
good
been building over
sign.
the last month or so. Yeah.
It is, and today I was checking the astrology, and of course, it's Thursday, is the day of the Guru. But
Yeah.
also today, the moon is transiting a very special constellation that is called Pushya.
Yeah.
And Pushya Nakshatra is the constellation of the Gurus. It's the constellation of the nurturing of the students.
Yes. Yeah. Well, perfect time to be
So
doing
I
this live and
thought it
talking about
was
this. Yeah.
exactly. It was just, I
Yeah.
told you there's no coincidence. Everything is like a
Yeah.
script. We're just following the script.
Exactly. There's been so many synchronicities in all of this. It's
Exactly.
wild. Yeah.
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah.
I just finished a tiny live I did in Spanish because I know many of the practitioners in Hispanic America. They
Uh-huh.
would love to understand what we're saying, but
Yeah.
they can't
Yeah.
yet. I hope
Right.
in the
Yeah.
future they will. But that's why I
Yeah.
did a little like compilation of what we're gonna speak and why
Yeah.
we're doing this and why
Right.
we are moved by the love and the transformation that we experience firsthand in
Right.
India and
Right.
how we
Yeah.
want that for for everybody. So
Right. Yeah.
mm,
Uh-huh. Absolutely. Yeah. I had some thoughts, um,
mm,
because I've been trying to figure out, how we as a community have come to this point where
mm,
it hasn't been. For some, it's not coming natural to
mm,
respect the lineage and the
mm,
family, and
mm,
um,
mm, mm,
and so in my questioning of why that we could be in this place, I was thinking about when I first started to travel to Mysore back in the '90s, and how at that time Mysore was very unforgiving for the Westerners. There
oh,
was there was no there
tough.
was no there you know there was no Western influence. There were
Mm,
no Western
mm,
shops, no Western food. They didn't even have any idea of how really to cater to us. And so you were forced into fully embracing either that or running away from India, because I saw plenty of people, have the intentions of staying for months and 2 weeks. They just couldn't handle it because
mm,
India
mm,
in that way, their culture was very unforgiving. Like it wasn't going to budge for you. Yeah.
mm,
And for
mm,
some, it was very frustrating. And so, you were forced to pay close attention, whether it be how to present yourself in public, what to wear and what you can't wear, how to eat
mm,
properly with your hands.
mm,
Yeah. Um, little things like that, that
mhm,
all
mhm,
together,
mhm,
was a huge culture shock, and really calls for your full attention. Because for me, I didn't want to disrespect the locals, and I didn't want to stand out like a sore thumb, even though
mm, mm,
I naturally did. And so I think, within that unwesternized environment, it forced us into, like I said, paying attention, respecting the culture, learning the culture.
mm, mm.
A lot of conversations I had with Sharat, because at the time, he wasn't my teacher. He was more of a practice. he was more of like a student just like us, because he practiced with us,
Mm.
especially the early morning group which I was in. And we never really talked about yoga. I would talk to him a lot about just the culture, things that I noticed that maybe they even sort of took for granted, and he was fascinated with my fascination and my curiosity, and so I wanted to learn the correct protocols when you were in different situations, and so I think that I within me grew a natural respect and love for the culture, and that I would never want to do anything to you know to offend them, or to push my Western views onto theirs, because it was a beautiful thing. I loved India. I loved the culture. I loved the people. And even though it was very foreign for me, over time, spending a lot of time there, I sort of settled into that and understood the culture and the tradition and the lineage on a deeper
Mm.
level, and that had always been in me. Now these days, Mysore has opened up in a way where there's so much Western influence, and they've learned to cater to us, and it's become really easy as a Westerner just to be there, and you find that everyone wants to cater to you. Yeah, because there's the tourism, and they realize that there's money in that, and the more comfortable they make us feel, and the more welcome they make us feel, the more likely it is we're going to stay there and enjoy ourselves, and to continue coming and bringing money to them, which
Mm.
it's not a bad thing. But I think the difficulty here is when it's too westernized, we feel too comfortable, and we feel too taken care of, and we forget that we're in someone else's country with someone else's culture,
Absolutely. Yes.
and that it's important, and nowadays it's almost like you have to dig for it a little bit more, when before it was so in your face, you know and I think that is you know since I've been contemplating this and questioning this is sort of a piece. I think this is an important piece of it, you know, and yeah. So
Yeah, I totally,
that's
I
just
totally hear you. Hi, Bryce. Welcome. I'm so happy to see you.
Let us know if we're in two different rooms. So if you guys hear any weird playback, let me know. I can exit and just go sit beside him if that's
No,
easier.
no,
Because
I love it like this because the way the screen is in three.
yeah. And
Yeah,
I'm realizing
Todd,
I'm used to that.
what you're saying, in my experience, since I'm married to an Indian citizen,
Yeah.
I always feel, like walking on sometimes of eggshells because
Yeah.
as Westerners, they have this subtle way of perceiving life.
Uh-huh.
There's so much in this beauty of devotion and the
Hmm.
bhakti and
Hmm.
it's something that is like the smell in India. It's
Hmm.
very subtle and very
Yeah.
important. And
Yeah.
sometimes we're very sloppy. That's how I
Yeah.
feel sometimes. We're
Yeah.
sloppy. And we
Uh-huh.
just try to move in a rhythm in a culture
Hmm.
that has a completely different pace,
Uh-huh.
and a
Right.
completely new way that it's very refreshing for us as Westerners once we slow down.
Right. Uh-huh.
But
Yeah.
with all this social media, like what you're saying, people are scrolling constantly. There's so much age and DHD, the deficit
Mm-hmm.
disorders, like
Yeah.
everything is
Uh-huh.
going so fast. That's
Right.
completely against what we have experienced in India.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. God, back in the
Mm,
day, the early
mm,
days, it just Mysore moved like molasses. It was so slow. And it took me a while to really drop down into that. And when I did,
so
I
incredible.
understood why Mysore was the hub for yoga like it was, because it really calls for you to slow down into such a much just a slower pace, and to accept things are going to take longer, and this once you relax into it and surrender, it's actually really nice, you know. And I really miss that's the one thing I miss about being in India, especially in Mysore. How beautiful it was for one,
Mm,
and two is just
mm,
how slow everything moves.
mm.
Yeah.
So it's hard because now we are remembering something that actually I don't know if it's there yet. I mean, I think it's inside of us, because
Hmm.
it's just the change of environment. I feel it when I go back. Like Now
Yeah.
I'm missing India very much. There's a part of me that is used to being there, at a certain time. Now Diwali is coming and
Yeah.
we're not going to be traveling. Yeah, it's just like,
Yeah.
and that rhythm, that pace, that
Yeah.
is so against our Western pace. It's like many people are saying, okay, now what is going to happen? Sharathji is not there anymore. What is going to happen? Like, give me an answer right away, and
Right.
we cannot wait. We have to rush and make it happen our way because we cannot stand to be just in the unknown and the
Right.
uncertainty. There's like a
Right. Yeah.
compulsion. That's how I feel it.
Right. Yeah. And it's good that you brought that up, because they're part of their tradition, and it's a part of other traditions as well, is to wait to make any big decisions after someone has passed away and to give them time. And I've been thinking about that as well. And I'm sure, there are a lot of reasons for that. One is, time to grieve. You don't want to make big decisions in the process of grief, because usually those are going to be the wrong decisions. Yeah, and I think another reason for giving it some time is, if you believe in ghosts, you don't want to make such huge changes that the person's spirit that left their body doesn't want to leave because it sees stuff happening, that they left behind that they don't approve with. And so it's good to take that pause, let their spirit move to wherever it's going to be moving and get settled, and then go about making those changes, and then it's about, respecting that person, taking a pause, thinking about that person, grieving that person, and that's a respectful pause. And in that time, it's okay to question. It's okay to go through whatever gamut of feelings that you're having because of the loss of that person. But to make any decisions, especially hasty decisions, is disrespectful in many different ways. And especially in this situation.
So, what would you say to those people, Brice? Maybe you want to answer this one, that are saying that we are being disrespectful just by
Well,
bringing this up?
I would push back and say, actually, I think, and Todd is right. In Indian culture, they wait a year they have certain ceremonies they do, and so I don't know if the people who came in and tried to change everything, if they're aware of that and they took advantage of the situation, or they're not aware of that and they thought just because Saraswati and Manju perhaps are being silent, that it was okay. But I want to remind the Westerners that this used to be a part of our culture too. Todd and I were talking about this the other day. Victorian times, when your spouse passed away, the widow wore black for a year. Like, we've just recently lost that in the Western world. And the thing about it is, I love the saying, two things can be true. Two things can be true here. The Western world is amazing. I love being a Westerner. I love our heritage. I love what we've contributed. But the Eastern world is also equally amazing. And we can share that culture with each other, but for us to come in and take over like we know what we're doing, when this isn't our culture. And this is deeply found, even though, I mean, Todd has said it before, that yoga kind of transcends religion, like yoga really transcends all religions. But in a cultural sense, it is a part of the Hindu faith. And that's not something that us as blonde-haired, blue-eyed Westerners are really going to ever be super familiar with, because that's not how we were raised. And so we have to have that sense of self and that sense of security. When Sharat passed away, it was a shock, right? We weren't expecting it. It was a shock. And when I saw this happen, when we started seeing things in February, I felt like I was gobsmacked. Like, it makes me want to cry. I was like, did you guys ever really love this man? Did you ever really respect this man? Because immediately when it happened, my immediate thought was not, oh, who's going to be signing authorizations now? That didn't even cross my mind. I think because we knew common sense that it was Saraswati and Manju anyway, but my thought was, oh my God, I hope his family's okay. Oh my God, I need to reach out to Sharmila. Oh my God, what do we do? What do we do? Like, my grief for the family over us. He's got two young children. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And to see people like, in my head, it's just vultures, vultures just coming in on a carcass to take what they can. And I don't understand, because as an authorized teacher here in the Western world, I am so grateful. David Grieg used to say, for those of us in the West to actually find Ashtanga, it's like we won the golden lottery ticket. And I feel so grateful to not only have had this practice, but to have been able to go to India, to be able to get to know the family, to sit up in the apartment above the main shala and have chai with Saraswati, to have that experience. I am so unbelievably grateful for that and what Ashtanga has done for my life. And I'm so proud to be able to help teach it to people here. And we always tell people, if you want to teach, if that's something you want to do, you're going to need to go to India. Like, we can't give that to you because it's not ours to give away.
Yeah, I just said that in the Spanish live, you
Oh,
know,
really?
that we
And
go to
yeah.
the West with such humility because we know we're not it. I used to say to my students, I am an arrow pointing to my teacher. That's what I used to tell them all the time, because I knew I was so limited. I mean, I felt so much passion for the practice and so much love, but I knew I was not it, that they had to go to Mysore. And many of them listened to me and went and met him, and even some of them got authorized to. And I'm so happy they had that opportunity. But like you say, it's like, we are not it. We are not the successors. We cannot be. We are humble custodians of the legacy in the West, in our modest way. Because, you know, I was chatting with one of my Indian friends yesterday, and we don't know Sanskrit. You know, we don't know how to really chant like the proper way. We are learning, you know, all the time. And like your teacher would say, David, you know, yeah, we won the lotto. But we cannot say, okay, I won the lotto, so now that he's gone, now this is me, and I'm going to certify you, and I'm going to authorize you in Miami, and in Toronto, and in Madrid, and in Rome, because he's not here to tell me otherwise.
And you know, go ahead.
Well, I was just the whole Yoga Alliance thing, because somebody was saying, like, how, you know, I saw him paraphrasing, like, how do we know he wouldn't want us to do that? And I was like, I sat in multiple conferences with Sharat where he went off on the Yoga Alliance, how he talked about the Yoga Alliance came into India, stole yoga, said, we don't need you anymore, India. Now we're going to run these teacher trainings. I'm sorry, but as an authorized teacher, I signed that I would never be involved in teacher trainings. And I understand why.
Of course.
And I will never do that. And so if Sharat was that passionate about us, not the fact that we could lose our authorizations if we got involved with these teacher trainings, tells me all I need to know about this situation right now.
Exactly, but it makes sense. You know, we cannot teach the parampara. We are custodians. We are the holders, and telling the people, okay, this is happening in India. You go there. You prepare. I can prepare you a little bit, but you have to go there, and you have to experience the magic. Like Sharathji used to say, you have to taste the honey. The honey.
Right. Yeah, and some people, you know, are arguing that, well, you know, Shruti is part of the family, but not recognizing the preparatory and initiation work that has to be done to make it to a level of practice experience, genuine practice experience under the Param Guru, to an extent that goes much further than us Westerners have ever experienced. And I saw this firsthand with Sharat. You know, you thought Patabi Joyce was hard on us. You should have seen how hard he was on Sharat.
He broke him.
Yes, and that was years and years and years of preparation for him to take that role. This wasn't casual practice with his grandfather. This wasn't casual assisting with his grandfather. This is someone who started at the age of 14 and practiced 6 days a week without fail, year after year after year, and then assisting with his grandfather year after year after year. Yeah. And this is after his grandfather went through the same thing with Krishnamacharya. Krishnamacharya went through even more than Patabi Joyce. Yeah. And so to just casually say, oh, well, Shruti was Sharat's wife and she assisted some in the Shala, that's inconsequential here. We're talking about a deep level of experience that a param guru has to have, and it should not be taken lightly. That's what made this practice as popular as it is, was that kind of integrity. And there's very few practices in the world that has that kind of integrity. Yeah. So you just can't flippantly say, oh, well, she's a Joyce. Oh, she assisted a little bit. It takes so much practice, so much watching students practice, so much teaching to get to the level where you have that kind of discernment of who really deserves to get certified, who really deserves to get authorized. Yeah. It's that can't be understated. Yeah. Without that discernment, without that initiation, it's just not, it doesn't have the potency that it should have, you know?
Dangerous. It becomes dangerous.
Yeah.
This dangerous, this Ashtanga, my friend Cindy at Sacred Garden Yoga, I've taught for her for like 10 years now. She talks about Ashtanga as being like the super one, like it's walking that fine line, right? Like even the opening chant talks about taking the poison, right? And poison can either help you or it can go overboard. And so there's danger in this practice in the sense that the teacher, when we're looking at the teachers, these Westerners, did I go out? Okay. All
A
these
little
Westerners,
bit. Yeah. You're fine.
I need to put
You're back.
all these Westerners coming in. This is dangerous in the sense that this practice, these postures, if we just take the spirituality out of it, which we really can't, but let's just put it to the side for a moment. These postures are dangerous. I've been severely injured. Mariella's been severely injured. I know, Todd, you've been injured. A teacher like Sharat watched us practice. He got to know us. Our home teachers watch us, get to know us. We don't teach or hop. And this is safety so that he understands where we need to go, what support we need in the practice. What the support that I need in the practice is not the same support that Mariella needs or Todd needs because we have different karma. And so when I watch Sharat, my vata gets so out of, my anxiety gets really bad. And I never talked to Sharat about my anxiety issues ever. But when I was in the Mysore room with him, when he would speak to me in the room, he would get really quiet with me. That makes me emotional. He would get really, really quiet and soft spoken with me. He never would force things. He would always say, let's try this. But then I would watch him scream at someone else. So he knew that my anxiety would be triggered if he yelled, and that the way to help me was, and that takes observing somebody. If you're flipping teachers in and out, then that's not going to happen, and there's going to be danger in this. And the thing is, like, if Shruti is able to be a Param Guru, then why isn't she teaching all of the Mysore classes when the shot? Why isn't she doing what Sharat did?
No, and the transformation is not only physical. When you have been through the fire of those series, it's like Todd is saying, it's mental, it's refining your discernment, it's making you more present to evaluate the circumstances around you so you can make the best decision, the best possible decisions for the majority. Not for a single group, not for this.
Yeah. And without that, that prior deep practice and experience watching many people practice and putting your hands on their body and adjusting and understanding the difference between bodies and and everything that goes with that, that informs the teacher on when it's appropriate to give a new posture, when it's the perfect time to do that. And that takes such a long time to truly understand. Yeah. And it comes with watching people, working with hundreds of people.
Thousands,
Thousands, right? Yeah, thousands. Yeah, exactly. Thousands of people, and working with the same people for many, many years, 5, 10, sometimes 20 years, and understand the ebb and flow of the practice and how some things may, there's so much to it. It's too hard to sum it up because there is so much to it. and it
Todd,
can't
and
just be.
a question they're doing, which is very interesting, and I don't know the answer myself, but they're
Mm,
asking why Saraswati was not the head of the lineage when her
mm.
father died.
I think she is. I think they all.
Well,
I
I
think
think that
they
she
are.
always was, to tell
I
you the
think.
truth.
Mm,
I think that
mm,
Shrat being much younger, and
mm,
him being prepped for up the position, it just
mm,
made sense that she handed that over to him for the time being.
mm,
Yeah,
mm.
and maybe she passed away before him. Maybe she outlived him, like is what happened. But I don't think that she stepped down from that place. You
She
know,
can
I,
authorize, been authorizing people and certifying people, and so I think they've been like a co. It's been like a co-param guruship.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
And we were
right.
talking last night. Let's be realistic. Saraswati has, and Manju have more experience than even Sharat,
So,
right?
yeah.
Hmm.
Mm,
Yeah.
They're old by virtue of being older.
Yeah.
So who
And
says that
yeah,
she
and
wasn't a farm guru?
yeah, and that doesn't make Sherrod any less.
No.
But it makes sense that Sherratt went through all that he went through with Patabi Joyce. And, even if officially the Param guruship was given to Saraswati, it also, Sherratt can also be acknowledged as that, and, uh, and that's personal stuff in the background, but that's
mm,
what I
mm,
suspect. And so, really, for us to even question whether or
mm,
not it's her, you know,
mm,
is tricky, because I think I think there should just be sort of an assumption there, and us as Westerners here, I think you know we should always, out of respect, defer to them, you know,
mm, mm,
like
Yes.
not make any
mm,
assumptions and defer to
mm,
them,
mm,
and just be patient and know in time they're going to make whatever statements need to be made, you
mm.
know, and not jump to any conclusions and not get too worked up about it. And we would not be, the respectful people would not be getting worked up about it if it wasn't for someone like Shruti and the Westerners jumping the gun and doing what they did, you know.
We don't like being here. That's what I have to tell you. We don't like this.
Right.
This is a
No.
year of mourning. We are in pain. We are experiencing the loss. Some people
Yeah.
say that we are trying to like divert the attention from the what is really happening, speaking and everything. And I don't
Hmm.
think so. I don't think so. Wait a second.
No.
The lights gonna
Yeah.
hit.
I mean, why?
Get back.
This is we can't, when they're making moves like they have. We can't just sit back and be quiet. We need to address this before it goes too far. And people have said, "Oh, stop bullying." A grieving widow or whatever. She's not grieving. If she was
But
grieving,
that's
she
a
wouldn't be doing.
different thing. I
She,
think there's like Bryce was saying, it's like a big salad that they're making.
The
right.
worst.
We
Uh-huh.
all support her. We all feel for her. I was there in February. I went there to support her and the
Yeah.
children because
Hmm.
I can understand the emptiness and the pain and the
Hmm.
loss.
Yeah.
But what surprised me is in that deep state of loss that so many things were going like completely awry, like completely in a direction that was unexpected and very bad taste according to the Indian tradition. There was
Right.
something happening there that was moving against this current, this knowledge,
Mhm.
this vidya. It
Right.
was against the knowledge what happened there.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And so
Right.
people may say, oh, you're envious because you didn't get it. If they had offered it to me, I would have like felt so angry. And I would
Yeah.
completely, in the moment, I would have spoken like I am doing now, because that would have been a great offense to my guru. Like,
Hmm. Right. Yeah. I mean, if you
incredible.
want to talk
It's like,
about disrespect, that's
mm,
that's that's the deepest disrespect I could imagine. I would have never have guessed, you know,
mm.
that this would have gone down the way that it did, and that it was so overt, that it wasn't, not just that it happened, but that the people who got accepted these certifications and authorizations, showed them proudly.
Oh,
and created a whole story around it, which in and of itself is a lie,
yeah.
and so the disrespect goes so deep, and
It had only been a few months after he passed. Like I can't, because Todd and Sharat are the same age. Todd was telling me. I wish he would tell more stories. Todd's he's a very private person. I'm proud of
Mm.
you for actually being public because you're a very private person.
yeah.
But pillow talk. Todd tells me more stories, especially about the olden days and the love that, because I know you told me that they called you and Sharat the boys club because you two were the young
Hmm.
ones, that you were the same age and everybody else is in their 30s and their 40s.
Uh-huh.
um yeah,
Mm.
when you met Sharat had never even seen the ocean before, and you were a military kid who grew up all over the world. So Sharat, at that point,
Uh-huh.
Sharat had never seen the ocean because he had been.
Uh-huh.
I want the Westerners to think about that, because as Westerners, we travel a lot, we go on vacations. This boy, he was a boy at this point, had
Hmm.
been working so hard that by 22 he had never even seen the ocean because his life
Right.
was yoga. His
Right.
life.
Life is yoga. Hmm.
When Manju left, I think, I say from my perspective, when Manju moved to California, it fell on Shrat's shoulders as his duty for his family to do this. And that has to be respected. And, if Todd were to drop like Shrat did, if he were to have a heart attack, I don't know. After 2 months, I don't know if I would be okay to even function. So the fact that it was just a few months after the fact, to me, it's gobsmacking. And I want to remind people, I said this in one of my videos. Yes, this is a family business for them, but like my family, like my mom's family, who are doctors, in order to be a part of the family business, you have to go through training. When my grandfather passed away young, he was 56 when he passed away very young. He was a head of surgery. My grandmother was like Shruti. She was a housewife. What would have happened if after my grandfather passed away, she had picked up the scalpel and walked into the clinic and said, okay, I'm here to be a head.
That's dangerous, Brice. So basically, what we're saying, and this is with my Indian friends, we're saying that those certificates, authorizations, and certifications, they don't have any weight. They don't have credibility. They don't have value.
Hmm.
And if you are listening, please, we cannot convince you. We are just giving you information for your own life, for your own decisions. That's our mission, basically, because we cannot make that horse drink. Okay, these people
Right.
are not going to give back what they got in their maneuvering. They would
Hmm.
have already. You understand?
Right.
I thought
Yeah.
a couple of them had the heart to say, this is hurting the community, but now I
Hmm.
understand that they won't do it. And
No.
Shara Yoga Center is not going to revoke them either. And
No.
so our mission is basically to explain you, to give you information so you make an intelligent decision for your life. Because if you
Hmm.
really want the transformation, if you really want that transmission of energy,
Hmm.
the teacher that is giving you the teachers is not the asana, it's what they are giving you energetically. And
Right.
if
Yeah.
someone is there and they are putting themselves as something that they don't deserve, and that is so wrong, then you're gonna get a twisted energy. You're gonna
Right.
get, like, yoga can, like Bryce said, it can be dangerous. If
Hmm.
you practice in a shala that has no shakti, that has no integrity, that is like confused and everything,
Right.
what is gonna happen is what happened to me, because I was there. I
Right.
got
I mean,
injured
yeah.
in my years with Sharathji. I mean, he used to adjust me so deeply. I never got injured. He had
Hmm.
a grace.
Yeah.
And right here, this person just completely destroyed my back. It's
Yeah,
like,
and and for them to, there's a saying says the fish stinks from the head down. And
mm,
so, if something has started without integrity, where is it going to go from there?
oh,
Yeah.
like I
How
told you,
how
two certifications in Miami now. Oh my
right.
goodness.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Uh-huh. That's where
And
it's going. That's where
and
it's
so,
headed.
and you were saying that, and I believe this, that most likely, none of them are going to give their fake
Yeah.
certifications or authorizations back. And so, then the question is, what is it that we can do? When I say we, all the people that are basically on the same page with us, that can
We
clearly
can
see.
go
And it's really,
practice.
and it's
We can go practice with the Indian teachers. That's what we can do.
exactly right. Yeah.
And
And so,
my
yeah.
preference, our preference is Saraswati, but I'm not only saying they're very good Indian teachers in Mysore, and
Mhm.
in many parts of India. We have to
Yeah.
go to the Indian teachers.
Right. And so,
Yeah.
the people that
That's
support are this point of view. It's not our point of view necessarily. It's like the logical, the logical,
It's the
common
common
ethical
sense. A
point of
B
view.
C
Those
A B
those are those
C
people,
one two
right?
three.
Those people that also
I can
see
do it.
what we
Three
see. The
is
people,
like
right? Yeah, the people that see what we see, which it doesn't take much to see it clearly. Um, they can recommend their students, you know, other friends to go practice, go study with the if they want to go to Mysore, study with Saraswati or some of the other Indians that have shalas. I know there's great teachers there. Yeah. Even back when Patabi Joyce was teaching, there were some Indian teachers that were there, had little shalas, and so, not deciding that you're not going to go back to Sharat Yoga Center to practice, and eventually I think that things will just sort of dry up,
yeah, but please
and that'll
don't
be that.
stop going to India. If you want to go to India, I had
Right.
several of my
Yeah. Oh
students
yeah.
that they were about to go and they
Mm.
changed gears. They're going to
Uh-huh.
India. We love India. We love
Yeah.
Mysore.
Yeah. Oh, I
Not
can't wait to
only
go
the
back.
shala, but
Mm.
everything, the people. We have
Hmm.
friends from many, many years. I
Hmm.
mean, it's
Yeah.
beautiful. It's a transformational experience to go to India. And Mysore
Nice.
is
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
safe. It's a
Hmm.
very catered experience for a first-time Westerner in India.
Yeah.
Please go to
Hmm.
India. Please don't stop going to India. Just
Right.
choose wisely.
Hmm.
And I think we're not gonna keep saying anything else about these people because I don't even know if they're listening. Todd and Brice. I
Right.
don't think
No.
they even care. And many other
Hmm.
colleagues, they're silent and they're like, okay, I'm doing my practice and love. That's, for us, love is doing the right thing. Some people
Oh,
experiment
well,
love
yeah.
in
Well,
different
the whole
ways. Some people
right.
is like, I'm going to do my pranayama and that's enough. And for us, there's more to do. There's
Yeah, I
like,
mean, in action is in being in action is action. Yeah,
Yeah.
mm,
Polarized
choosing not to do anything is an action, and it's a choice.
is
And it
supporting
speak
the,
and
exactly.
it speaks loudly. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
saying, "Oh, I don't want to be a part of the drama." You know, the drama didn't start with us. What we're doing here is not necessarily drama. Yeah,
It's the
Mm.
Bhagavad
it's
Gita. It's Arjuna standing on the battlefield, looking across the field, seeing his colleagues and his friends and his teachers he's loved, and he's in
right.
a battle. And the favorite part of the Bhagavad Gita for me, when I first started studying it years ago, which was revolutionary, because we think of spirituality as being peace and love and all that kind of stuff. But in a nutshell, when Arjuna is having this like mental crash out because he doesn't want to go to
Mhm.
war, Krishna is like, tough shit, basically. Like, buckle up,
Yes.
Buttercup. You're a warrior.
Stop complaining and fight.
Go
Exactly.
fight.
That's
Yes.
what he
Uh-huh.
said. Go
Right.
fight.
Yeah.
And stop crying and stop like, and so I think there's a lot of spiritual bypassing in our community. That's what I'm realizing.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's worth
But
fighting for truth.
of
Yeah.
course, of
It's worth
course.
fight. It's worth fighting for integrity. You
And
know.
for love, we love our
Right.
teachers. We don't want
Hmm.
this knowledge to be diluted. We don't want
Right.
you to get an experience of the practice that is not the real, the cool, the
Hmm.
transformational, the intense. And some people say, okay, no, Saraswati is too old. It's like, what? She's a powerhouse. She
She's
has
probably
all this
70 or 80.
knowledge. She has all this beauty. She's like, I can't wait to go back to her and to the
I
original
mean,
shala where I started. It's like,
when I first started practicing with Patabi Joyce, he was 80 years old. You would have never guessed the man was a day over 50.
amazing.
Like
Yeah, yeah. I just
hopping
saw a
over
video
students,
and he was like, yes,
adjusting everyone, getting
that's
after
like,
people brain sharper than, I mean, such a sharp brain. Like, and to say 83, like that's not a big deal. Like, really, especially with the Joyce family, they're so hardy.
They're
Yeah.
amazing. They're amazing.
Saraswati is just as hardy as her father. That Pitta
Mm-hmm.
Kappa,
Mm-hmm.
like that's some serious energy there. So to think
Yes.
that 83 is that old, that she doesn't
No, no,
have
no.
many
She's
good
going
years
to
left,
108.
and right, yeah,
I mean, she's
so
younger than I am at 42, let's be honest. But it would be an honor to practice with Saraswati. She
Oh,
is sharp.
yes.
She's a woman of
Yes.
very few words, but when she speaks, it's powerful. And I'm going to remind people, like, this woman was born into yoga. She was born into this. Both of her parents were Krishnamacharya students. Manju was born into this. We don't have that as Westerners. And that's the thing too, that I'll use this example. I think it was my first trip. I did a tour of it. Is it the St. Philomena Church in the middle of
Uh-huh,
my
uh-huh. Yes, yes, yes. The
I went with a
symphony.
friend and we did a tour of it. We got to the back room and we started dying laughing. Not out of disrespect, you guys. There's a point to this. Hindu temples have a certain je ne sais quoi about them. They have a certain way they're set up. Well, the back room at this St. Philomena Christian church was set up like a Hindu temple, but it was a Christian church. And this is the point I'm making. We're always going to infuse our culture into something. And so, whether we intend to or not as Westerners, so using that as an example, which is totally fine. Listen, it was a beautiful church. But in the Western world, if you were to come to Ashtanga Yoga Atlanta or Shala, yes, we honor India. But I'm sure if a person straight out of Mysore were to walk into our Shala, I'm sure there are things Todd and I do that they would giggle about because we don't even
Yes.
realize we're doing them because we're Westerners, and that's okay. It's
Exactly.
totally
And please, our Indian friends, excuse us. We have a passion for the practice, but I know we're making a lot of
fine.
mistakes when we teach. I know
yeah,
that, because now that I have been immersed in the Indian culture, oh my goodness, like,
yeah,
and yet we are willing to learn. We are perpetual students. We are not saying we know everything and now we can authorize and certify. We would never
Oh,
say that.
mhm,
That would be
no,
so disrespectful and so ungrateful to what
right,
we have learned in India.
that's not
yeah,
our
So
place. We know that. We know that's
it's
not our
not our
place.
place.
Love
It's
India.
not our place.
We love the town of Mysore. Please go if you want to go study with Saraswati. She's
Please go to
amazing.
Mysore. Mysore is magical. It's beautiful. And
And
Saraswati
Saraswati,
has,
she's gorgeous. Like that woman is probably one of the
yes,
most genetically beautiful human beings. I mean, she's
yeah.
gorgeous, and her energy is infectious. Her daughter, Sharmela, I love Sharmela is the funniest. She is so social. I love her. And so you will have a wonderful time. You'll be in great care. There has to
Mm.
be intimacy and great care in this practice. And I know Sharat was not, from my perspective with Sharat, one thing he said in a conference once that I've always remembered. He said, if you want to impress me, be a kind person.
Be a good person. Yeah, be a good person. That's it.
Asana was just a tool for him. That's all it
Yeah.
was. He understood asana was important, but he didn't value the student's worth just based off of their performance on their yoga mat.
No, and he really was very keen on some of us because he needed to break our backs. So we would like start listening because we were so much in the mind. So the series come and they are like this, wow, this storm that start washing away all the poisons,
Yeah,
the greed, the ego, the laziness, everything
mhm,
starts like washing. And once you understand that's what practice is for, so then you can go and live your life in integrity.
yeah,
So then you can be kind to people. So then, we're thinking of the future for generations. We don't want you to get a diluted version of what we received. And
right,
you may go and you may get authorized. Oh, yeah, I got authorized by the Sharathji Yoga Center. Who
mhm,
signed that certificate? I'm asking you to be more precise, to go deeper, to
mhm,
don't like just the posting. I knew of some authorized teachers now in the last season that they were so ashamed of that authorization that they did not even show it. They did not even post in their Instagram that they got
right,
authorized because they told me, it was a very fortunate situation. They offered me this and I didn't want to offend them. But at the
mhm,
same time, it was very weird for me to receive this in a
right.
moment of grief.
And
So
for
I'm
this,
asking,
yeah, Yeah, I
Go
was going to
ahead.
say for this to happen in this practice, you know, but it was always taught to us no skipping,
Yeah.
no skipping. You know that's like at the core of this practice. You grasp the challenge as best you can, and no skipping. Yeah, you breathe through it, regardless of how uncomfortable it is. You know, regardless of how much you want that, you know, or don't want that. Yeah, depending on what pose it is, but no
Mhm.
skipping.
No skipping.
And so and
Absolutely.
so and
And not
so and
only in
so
the practice,
why
in life, you cannot like
right.
grab and get something that
Hmm.
it doesn't belong to you. That's basic third
Right.
yama asteya. You
Uh-huh.
don't grab anything that is not given freely to you.
Right.
That's basic
Yeah.
ethics in life.
And so if we have a new foundation being formed by someone who's skipping and other people that are supporting that, where is this going to go? The reason why I loved Ashtanga is because of how badass it was, how hard it was, you know, that it felt like sometimes it was survival of the fittest. Like if you couldn't show up and you do the best you can, you know, regardless of how much fear. Can't tell you how many times I was so sore that I sometimes had a hard time walking down my steps and across the alleyway to go into to practice because I had been through the ringer for
No,
months.
I'm
But
so
I would
scared,
just
so scared
yeah.
to go to practice. I used to pray, I remember, and say, okay, I'm gonna die
Mhm.
today. I'm gonna
Right.
die. Okay, it's
Absolutely.
fine.
Yes.
I'm gonna die in the hands of my
And some
guru.
people, yes. And
Let's
so,
do this.
yeah, right. Yeah. You just find yourself in there and you're like, I can't believe I'm on my mat right now. I can barely
Yes.
fold forward, but you just do it and no skipping. You
Yes.
Todd,
do the whole
No
thing.
escaping.
you have to tell Mariella and our people watching the story of the only time Sharat, like whatever really adjusted to you when you were younger, the first time you caught.
No, well, he adjusted me and it was funny because,
This is first time
so
catching. Well, tell from, I know I have people who are from my channel following me. Catching quickly. What is catching? When we say catching, what does that
when
mean?
you're doing a
Catching.
back bend and you have to catch your ankles.
You're
And
standing,
so
looks like you're possessed by a demon and it's being exorcised
Right,
at
yeah.
you. You're
Uh-huh.
standing up and you.
I was telling Bryce a story the other day, so I'll tell it from the beginning. So for some time, Patabi Joyce would you know, they don't have this adjustment anymore, but in assisted back bends, you would cross your arms and you know, you go to do the three back and forth, the half backs, and then you would get set on your head. They would put you down on your head. You may have practiced during the time that it was still in the assisted back
Yeah,
bend.
yeah, and they would like touch you in the head, and you were like, ah!
Yeah, well, Patabi Joyce would let me go like an inch from the floor, and
Yes.
my head would thump, you know. And if I put my arms down, he would yell at me, why fearing?" And so Patabi Joyce would notice that I would get Sharat's eye to come over and help me in back bends, so I wouldn't get dropped to my head. And Patabi Joyce had it sort of figured out
One
that
second.
I would time it
Uh-huh.
so Sharat would help me. And once he got it figured out, he told Sharat in Canada, I picked it up. He was like, "You make him catch today." And
First time,
so
first time, just catching.
it was first time I had ever been wound in, and Sharat put his hands on my waist and reached out and grabbed a hold of my wrist. And as soon as he grabbed a hold of my wrist, out of the primal depths of my being, I just go, "No!" And he just whispered. He just knelt down and whispered in my ear. He said, "Yes."
Ah!
And he wound me in. And then I came up and I looked at Guruji and he said, "Much bending." Anyway, he just laughed. It was funny. The whole
No,
situation and how I
it
just
was
screamed out.
the ultimate letting go. It was a great training for abnegation, for fear.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I
absolutely.
think
Yeah.
that's what this practice is about. It trains you for fear, so you can use fear in a constructive way.
Right.
And
Uh-huh.
that's what we're doing here. It's not because we want to do this. It's because it's our duty to
Yeah.
do
It's the
this.
right thing to do. It's our sadhana.
Yeah, it's our sadhana.
It's our responsibility.
So we
If
respect
we're
your sadhana, please respect
mm,
our sadhana. This is our sadhana. Don't
mhm,
say that we're doing wrong, that we are abusing the wife, that we are not.
mhm,
We are just saying we wouldn't want to be here. That should have not happened. That should have not happened. And please don't keep it going. It's like Rai was saying, it's like playing pretend. You know,
Yeah.
I'm pretending that I am certified, so the
Uh-huh.
whole world, and I'm smiling, and my husband is certified, and my partner in the studio is authorized, and I'm pretending, and we are there, and we're saying, you know, that's not how it goes. It's like
Right. Uh-huh.
no
Yeah.
pretending here, because there's
Yeah.
a living Gurudeva in Mysore, and there's Manju in the US, and that's the right, at least for ourselves. And maybe you want to think about it. Maybe you want to say, okay, no, I'm going to go where the whole mass goes. Okay, go ahead, you know. But when someone has warned you and told you, you know, there's an abyss there, you know, be careful,
It's the
and you
same.
still go, that's your karma.
And
Right.
yes,
Yeah.
I with Shruti, I think I've been very respectful. I feel like I've said multiple videos, I feel like she's been exploited. Like, I have empathy for her. I can't imagine what that must have been like to like lose your spouse, have two young children, and have this big thing that your husband was doing. I have a lot of
We
empathy
want
for
to think she was maneuvered. That would be mine. You know, I want to think she was maneuvered. I don't want to think she was part of this, really, because it just doesn't match with how I perceived her as a loving wife. But only God knows this. And I think we have, you know, done what we needed to do. From now on, you're on your own, basically. We're not going to keep repeating ourselves. We
karma.
are,
Right.
yeah, we have
Yeah.
been
I mean, I
doing
feel like
this
at
for,
this, yeah, I feel like at this point we've got the word out. People are starting to talk about it.
yes,
We've
yes,
gotten a
yes.
lot of positive feedback on the ones that are trying to fight back against this. Make zero sense.
It's word salad.
You have no leg to stand on, and it's obvious because for one, you're remaining quiet and coming up for with excuses of, oh, I'm just do your practice or drama or whatever, and that's fine. But if you had a leg to stand on, we could talk about your side of the story and your argument to support this, but it's all been word salad and it's all been dancing around the issue. And it's funny that everyone that has reached out or left comments that are trying to push back against what we're saying, they never mention Saraswati.
Never.
And if she is mentioned, it's just basically like, oh, she's too old. Like, we should respect our elders here.
Yeah.
And like I said, don't
Absolute,
forget
yeah.
when Patabi Joyce, when I first started studying with him in the 90s, was 80 years old, and you would never have known it. So age does not matter here. And if it does matter, you should respect your elders, especially
Absolutely. No. And the
especially
tradition.
an elder in this family.
Yep.
So we've got a lot of support in the background, and maybe it's time for those people who have reached out in their support to speak up. You know, especially if you have a platform
Yeah, even if
where,
you don't speak up, make the right choice. That's what I'm
right?
saying. Because some of my colleagues are saying, "Oh, I'm gonna go there and check it out." Well, be careful.
Yeah.
Because you can go there and bring some flowers to the picture of Sharathji and leave. You know, you don't have to go
Right.
there and expose yourself. Like someone was asking about my injury. I got injured by one of these fake certified teachers. And this person is, you know, saying he's certified and he's pretending to be certified
Well,
because he's
yeah.
not.
And he's obviously right, and he is not certified material
And
because
he's not
because they
certified material.
lose your authorization twice.
Imagine. Imagine.
You
So
How
I
know,
do
don't know
you
if
you're not
Shruti
certified
was
material.
aware of
You know,
this.
right. And I could tell the quick story about Amma, Patabi Joyce's wife, and how much was on the line when she decided to go through her formal exam, public exam, I might add, where she was on a stage and being tested by Krishnamacharya in front of the whole community. Yeah. And she told me that if she failed, better luck next lifetime.
Next
You
lifetime.
got
Exactly.
one chance. That's when I heard that story, when she told me that story, I got so excited. I was like, because I was new into this practice, you know, because Patabi Joyce was my first yoga teacher ever. First yoga class I ever walked into was in Mysore. I didn't even know what I was getting into. But when I heard that story, I was like, holy shit. I struck gold, because that is the kind of stakes I want. I want the high
Yeah.
stakes kind of path, you
The
know?
What
narrow
When she
path. The
said,
narrow
well,
path.
next life, good, you know, better luck next life. Like,
You
it
were
was
a
all the
skateboarder
line.
though, so before he was a very active skateboarder without a helmet on. So he's kind of like he likes the art and
Well,
dangerous.
we want to believe that, we are maybe doing a little bit of good karma for all of our bad karmas,
Yeah.
and again, please, all the Indian colleagues and all the Indian community, please excuse us. We just feel a passion and a love and a respect for your culture. And we're here to say something very, very serious and fraudulent happened in the Sharathji Yoga Center in last season. And it's most likely that it's going to happen again in the future if we don't stop it now. And we have not been afraid to speak in the name of someone we loved and respect, our gurus. So this is it. We are we are off. And if you want to write us, and if you want to communicate with us, and if you want to come live with us, we are here. But this is the last live that we're going to do together, because we don't want to keep repeating ourselves. And maybe this is a message to those of our colleagues that are so quiet and passive. It's a time of protecting what we love, the transmission that we received. The new generations deserve it. And I really thank you. Part of this beautiful journey since I went there last February has been to meet you both. Thank you so much. You inspire me, both of you. I think you're true friends, because when we fight for something and we believe in something and we take action and we're not afraid, for me that's friendship.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
When we're ready to jump into the unpopular and be trolled and be attacked by strangers and even by friends. Oh my
absolutely.
God. Yeah. It's because we're trying to protect something that is very valuable to us.
Right. Yes.
And from my perspective too, I feel like, we're trying to protect India from the Westerners, and we're Westerners. And that's what that's our karma.
Maybe we were Indians, I think, in the past lives.
Right. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yes, I think
But Tommy Joyce would say you would have to have done yoga for 10 lifetimes to end up in India studying with an intense form of yoga like Ashtanga. You didn't just happen upon it. You have many lifetimes. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, and we're Westerners now, and so I feel like that's our duty, is to call out the Westerners that are behaving badly.
Yes, we're calling the Westerners. Yeah.
That's our karma, and we know what you're doing. Everybody knows that you're playing pretend. It's all make believe. These certifications are just make believe. That's all they are. And we're going to support Saraswati, and we're going to do the right thing, because we do love Sharath and we do love India, even though we know that we will always be foreigners in India. We get that, we understand that, but we protect that and we respect that. And I did, though. I told Todd he had to tell this story. I hope I don't embarrass him. Can you just please tell everybody? You remember I said that he and Sharath were in the boys' club in the 90s because they were so young together. Can you please tell the Lungi story?
Oh God, I can't believe you're asking me to tell that story.
Please tell the Lungi story. I'm sure Mariella's husband will love this story too.
So
let's just say you make a lasting impression on Sharath.
Yeah, all right. I'll tell this story, and then we'll get off. We'll close with this because it's sort of funny. So I decided after a while, noticing all the Indian men wearing their lungis, that I decided, okay, I'm gonna go native. I'm gonna start wearing a lungi around. And being partly of Scottish descent, under their kilts they don't wear any underwear. And so I just thought, I was gonna raw dog it and just wear my lungi out, and so put my lungi on, and I'm walking by the Joyces, and I notice, oh, there's some people hanging out over there. It's in the evening, and so I walk up, and Sharath was like, oh, nice lungi, and he said, oh, but you didn't tie it, let me show you how to tie it. And so before I could even say anything, he had grabbed my lungi and opened it up. And the masala dosa and the gulab jamuns were just right there. And he just quickly, without a word, he just quickly put it back on and showed me how to tie it. But he had realized his mistake, and I said, oh, and I realized at that moment, I was like, oh, I guess you normally wear underwear under these, and he just sort of gave me the problem, but it was so funny. Oh my God. I learned my
Oh my
lesson so
God.
fast. So anyway, that's my Lungi
Yes.
story.
Yeah, I know we had made a lot of mistakes, but we love India and we love
Uh-huh.
Mysore and we'll be back as soon as we can. And thank
Uh-huh.
you all for joining, for listening. And we are here, the three of us. Please write us if you have any comment, if you need any, I don't know, support in making your decision, if you are being pressured, if you feel scared, if you think you're going to be canceled or bullied.
Mhm.
That's not a way to live yoga. Yoga, we need to live like bold, like
Absolutely.
warriors.
Mm.
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
it's very important.
You can't
Yeah.
Thank
scare
you.
me. I practice Ashtanga yoga. Did you see what I did this morning? That was way scarier.
Right. Yeah. It gives you really thick skin and should make you brave. If practice is
Yes,
correct, attitude is
yes,
correct, then
exactly.
this something like this should be nothing. Yeah.
Yes,
It's in
yeah,
us. And
exactly. And
yeah, it's in this.
it was given by our teachers, so
Mm,
that's their
uh-huh.
merit. Totally.
Hmm. No. Okay.
Oh, thank you,
Well, love you,
Christine.
Mariella. Great
I
to see
love you
you. And
too, my darlings.
yeah,
I hope to
yeah,
hug you soon in Mysore.
Absolutely.
absolutely. February. Yeah, we're planning on it.
Thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
so
Okay.
much. Take
Yeah.
care,
Bye
please.
bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.